the nutrition boss. I am grateful to be doing this for the last how many years? We are part of a healthy living community known as the Juice Plus community. We've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing nutrition for over 30 years. Carla and I have been together for over 30 years in this, helping people get their health together. So we're part of the Juice Plus family, and we've chosen Juice Plus because we like what it does for our bodies. It has been not only scientifically proven, but we also have testimonies. But we wanted to be the company with the research behind the product. So I'm going to turn it over to Carla. And Carla, you just finished talking. Tell everybody what we're doing tonight.
Well, thank you so much. Have you ever been in pain? Well, today we're going to talk about how we can deal with pain. What kind of pain? Joint pain, soft tissue pain, peri workout pain, headaches, post injury pain, back pain from discs, menstrual pains, arthritic pains, fibromyalgia. So, all of these pains we're going to talk about today. But before we do, I want to introduce myself. Yes, I'm Coach Carla Joy, and I have experienced pain. Do you remember the last time when you were in pain? Was it back pain where you felt that you could not get up? You could not stand, you could not sit, you could not lie down without feeling pain. Or have you ever experienced gas pain? You know, you ate something that may or may not have been good for you, and now you're just writhing around and you're running to the bathroom and coming back. Or if you're a woman and you have experienced dysmenorrhea, otherwise known as menstrual cramps, when you think you're going to lose your mind and you dread that certain time of the month. Or maybe you've had an injury. Maybe you, like me, were getting up suddenly, and the next thing you know, your toe connected with a very old piece of wooden furniture, and the pain, it was in your foot, but you could feel it almost in your head. Or have you had a headache or a toothache? Well, I have experienced all of the above, and you probably have too. And if you have, my greatest compassion. When I experienced those pains, they happened thankfully at different times. And sometimes the pain was so intense, I had to remind myself to breathe. And I went through a period of having menopausal pain, fibroid pains. I mean, for some people, that might be too much information, but I'm telling you, I've been through a lot. I would try different supplements. I would try to exercise. I would try family recipes, family remedies. Do you guys remember having to take certain potions that relatives had suggested? Went through all of that. And then one day, my favorite goddaughter, she's now a doctor of physical therapy, and my favorite physical therapist, she she introduced me to the documentary Forks Over Knives. And during that documentary, I heard about women who had female problems that were impacted unbelievably by food. And then she also introduced me to the lecture by Dr. Michael Greger, Uprooting the Causes of Disease. And suddenly I began to realize that there was a connection between nutrition and different types of pain. That was that was the pivot point for me. That was the turning point for me. I knew that there was a solution. And it turns out that the research, for decades of research, this is not new, decades of research indicate that whole food plant based eating and using what I call Dr. Carla's 6 pillars of health could make a difference in the incidence, in the severity, and even turning around the pains that I had experienced myself and that I could share with others so that they didn't have to experience that pain. So the reason I'm telling you my story is because Dr. Neil Barnard, in his book, Foods That Find Pain, documents clinical research that shows that pain is related to nutrition, and that if you change your nutrition, you can change your pain status. Now, he does provide pain relieving medications to his patients or clients that come to him in pain. But what would you prefer? To have pain relief every time you had pain, or to have pain relief and then not have pain as frequently, or maybe make the pain go away and not have to come back? So, what we're going to be talking about today, I'm going to give you the short version because some of you may find this a little too long. So, I'm just going to give you the answer at the beginning. The short version is eat more than or equal to 90% of your calories coming from plants. That is vegetables, fruit, grains, whole grains, peas, and beans, otherwise known as legumes. This means it will be high in fiber. And this means that it's going to affect your hormones and it's going to affect inflammation by reducing them both. The other part is more hydration. Drink more water. And as usual, I have my water nearby. I mention it, I'm going to drink it. The third thing is reduce the amount of animal products. Remember, I said 90% of your calories coming from plants? So there's room for 10% of your calories coming from animal products. Well, what does that even mean? Well, if you hold up your hand, this would be a serving. So, what you can do is either 3 servings of animal products a week or 6 half servings of animal products a week. Talk to the person who invited you to this time together, and we'll be able to say more to you about it. Now, when you're talking about reducing animal products, I mean fish, fowl, and farm. So whether it's beef, pork, turkey, or it's your favorite salmon, or it's your favorite sardines, you want to reduce all of that. And you also means no dairy products. So that means milk products from any animal. So no milk, no cheese, no cream, no yogurt, no butter. And that's because of the proteins. And if you see something that has casein or whey, those are dairy proteins. The other thing that you want, the reason why you want to reduce the animal products is you want to reduce the amount of fat in our eating plan. The fat increases inflammation, reduces blood flow to our body. The other thing that's in the animal products is the actual animal product proteins. They are pro-inflammatory. They increase inflammation. They decrease kidney function because they cause the kidneys to overwork. And the animal products also contain hormones. If they are female animals, they'll contain a lot more estrogen. And even if they're not female hormones, they will still have extra estrogen in them because males also have estrogen, and progesterone, and testosterone, but at different levels. And so they negatively impact our hormone balance. So that's the answer. But what kind of pains are we talking about? Let's start at the top. Headaches. So there are different types of headaches. There are headaches that are associated with stress, with dehydration. So if you are experiencing stress, then what you want to do is reduce the stresses in your life. When I talk about Dr. Carla's 6 pillars of health, I talk about de-stressing. One of the things that the American College of Lifestyle Medicine includes in their 6 pillars of health is being part of a community so that you have community support. Now, your community might be a little stressful, so you may want to make changes about how you interact in your community. But at the other end of headaches, you may have migraines. And here is the shocker for me. I know a lot of people who drank coffee regularly, and when they stopped drinking coffee, they developed headaches, and then after a period of time, they stopped having migraines. Um, the shocker in Dr. Barnard's information was that if you have a migraine headache, as soon as possible, you could take a strong shot of coffee or a strong shot of ginger, and that they could help relieve migraine pain early on in the migraine. So, if you have information about that, I'd love to hear it. But as I said, this is research based information from Dr. Barnard's book. Another type of pain, joint pain, like arthritis. That's an autoimmune condition, and it is based on inflammation and an autoimmune reaction. So, what could we do? We could reduce the things that cause the inflammation. And one of those things, of course, would be going back to what I said earlier about changing your nutrition. Cut down on the pro inflammatory foods and add the plants, the fruits, the vegetables, excuse me, the grains. Um, Dr. Barnard mentioned that things like turmeric and capsaicin have also been taken to help reduce inflammation and pain. And he mentioned that capsaicin can, that burning component in peppers can be applied topically, externally, and to help reduce the pain. And he also said that anti-inflammatory drugs like turmeric or like that's an herb, or drugs could be strengthened if taken with coffee. Again, I'm just reporting on the information he has in his book. What about other kinds of back pain, about pains, joint pains, back pains associated with discs? He said to be very careful because many people suffer from ruptured discs or expanding discs or bulging discs. And there's research that indicates that these disc problems are really due to poor circulation to the back, the bones of the spine, and to therefore to the discs themselves. Even young people have been found to have reduced circulation to the discs, and that later on leads to disc degeneration. He said that many people who have bulging discs do not have any pain. They are asymptomatic. And he said that by improving our eating, by eating more plants, fruits, vegetables, grains, peas, and beans, that improves the circulation to the back and that it could lead to restoration of those discs. So, again, I'm just reporting on the information, but that gives us hope because if you are suffering from back pain that has something to do with the discs, it may not be because of the discs, it may be because the poor circulation to the back is allowing the degeneration of the disc and also impacting the nerves. What about soft tissue pain? Things like fibromyalgia. Well, Dr. Barnard shares that also going through whole food plant strong eating that removes dairy, increases the fiber, reduces the fat, and increases fluids will positively impact persons who are suffering from tissue pain like fibromyalgia. What about people who want to reduce the pain associated with workouts or the pain associated with recovering from injury or surgery? Once again, adding more fruits and vegetables, reducing the animal products to less than 10% of your calories, reducing the amount of fat, adding fluids, adding fiber, which comes from the plants, will assist in reducing pain associated with all of these symptoms. Now, I mentioned earlier about menstrual pain. You may have heard the term dysmenorrhea, and there are people also suffering from endometriosis, and there. He did not speak specifically about fibroids or endometriomas, which are growths that develop in the uterus themselves, in the womb, in the wall of the womb. But research shows that these growths are all estrogen fueled. I don't know about the origin, but I do know that they're estrogen fueled. So, eating a plant strong eating plan that has reduced animal products means that you're not being exposed to additional estrogen from outside of your own body. And that helps reduce the amount of buildup of tissue during the cycle, the woman's cycle, so that there's less pain during the period. So you want to, in, if you are suffering from these conditions, you may want to go 4 weeks or more with, I would suggest 8 weeks, but he said 4 weeks at least, with no animal products. Remember, a lot of the animals are females, so they'd have a high estrogen content. And even if they're not females, they'll still have estrogen, and they'd contribute to the amount of estrogen and cholesterol buildup in your body. You don't want to have any dairy products, because all dairy products will be coming from female animals, and again, will be high in estrogen. And all animal products have no fiber, and you want to increase the amount of fiber, because the body uses the fiber that we eat to help remove some of our own estrogen and our own cholesterol. They go through the liver passes it into the gut, and we need the fiber in our food to lock it up so that it can pass out of our bodies in our stool. Um, One woman who was involved in this, one of the studies he conducted, because remember, all of the information in his book is based on research, clinical studies that they have performed. One woman um, had to leave the study because even though she joined the study thinking that after years of trying to get pregnant that she was actually infertile, her doctor had diagnosed her as being infertile. She went on the whole food plant-based eating plan. They had no animal products, no dairy products, was high in fiber and low in fat, and she got pregnant 2 months into the program. So that's an interesting factoid. Now, you are your best researcher. If you have an autoimmune condition, if you have pain, then you probably have an idea of if there are any triggers, anything that in your eating plan, anything that you're doing that seems to precede the onset of your pain. Well, what you would need to do is just begin to pay more attention. If you eat snacks or certain foods, and 2 days later you're in pain or your pain levels increase, pay attention, start noting them. One of the things that Dr. Barnard did was give us a list of the most reported triggers for pain. I'm going to share that list with you now, so you may want to get your pen and paper ready. He said that these are the list of the most reported triggers. They are not necessarily bad things in this list, but pay attention to them because you may have observed that if you take these foods, that afterwards, shortly afterwards, within 24, 48 hours, your pain levels increase. He said it contained dairy, chocolate, eggs, citrus fruit, meat, that would be fish, meat, fowl, or farm, wheat, nuts, tomatoes, onions, corn, apples, bananas. So these are the triggers that have been most reported to be associated with the onset of pain from people who have been paying attention. Now, you may have none or all of those that are included. So, what you want to do is pay attention and write down the things that have caused triggers for you. And what does Dr. Barnard recommend? He actually recommends something called an elimination diet. Now, how does this work? For 4 weeks, you go without any of the triggers that you recognize. Now, we encourage you to remove all dairy products. If you're going whole food plant based, you're going to remove all dairy products anyway. But if you know that anything on that list seems to be a trigger, just remove it completely for 4 weeks. At the end of that time, for 2 days, eat significant amounts of it. So, for example, if you think that onions are a trigger, then for 2 days, eat a lot of onions. Or eat a lot of bananas if bananas seem to be a trigger. And then, if after those 2 days your pain starts coming back, then put those particular foods that seem to be triggers, put them aside. It doesn't mean you will never be able to eat them again, but you may want to keep them out of your diet for the next few months until you are used to eating whole food plant based, and that the whatever's going on in your gut and in your system can begin to heal. It may take a while. I mean, we didn't get here in a day. So we have to be patient with ourselves. So, an elimination diet, if you're not sure or you think that you may have a trigger, Dr. Barnard recommended that that was a way for you to identify if there were specific things in your eating plan that were contributing to your pain. So, oh, something else. Don't shoot the messenger. What about avocados? There are a lot of people who are just, I mean, I love them. Don't get me wrong. But there are a lot of people who say, oh, I only eat healthy fats. I only eat avocados. But some of them eat avocados the way I eat avocados. They see them and they eat them all. So you may want to minimize that, because remember, whether it's a good fat or a bad fat, whatever that means, saturated fats would be bad fats. Whether it's a good fat or a bad fat, each gram of fat has 9 calories. And the effect of having high fat meals is sludging in your arteries. The arteries do not ask, what kind of fat are you? The blood vessels, they, they react, the blood flow decreases, the red blood cells, instead of flowing smoothly, they start to clump together. All of those have been demonstrated in research indicating that as long as you're eating high fat meals, it doesn't matter if it's from an avocado, it will impact your cardiovascular system. So, I hope that this information has been helpful to you, but I have one more thing to share with you, and that is, how can we help you? Well, we're part of the Juice Plus family, and we have access to concentrated fruits and vegetables that can help you jumpstart your healthy living journey. You see, for most of us, the idea of eating 7 to 13 servings of fruits and vegetables with variety every day, highest quality fruits and vegetables, can be a little daunting. So, with one simple change, you can add the Juice Plus Quad, which is 10 fruit, 10 vegetables, and 10 berries, plus the omegas. Remember, fish don't produce omegas, they eat the algae. So we bypassed the algae, the middle fish, and went to the algae and 5 other sources of naturally occurring omegas, so that we have an omega blend of omega 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9, so that you're getting all of the omegas the way they occur in nature. So 10 fruits, 10 vegetables, 10 berries, plus the omegas. And then you have access, those are in capsules. You have the soft chews, the omegas don't come in soft chews. And then you have the complete shake, which contains about 14 grams of protein, but it's all plant protein, no pro inflammatory animal protein. You can also have the Perform that contains a little more protein per serving, and you can have the Luminate, which contains compounds, ashwagandha, um, different mushroom types of mushrooms, the coffee berry, and so that you can have concentration and focus as well as being able to be alert. So you can have the Luminate, and of course, we have the superfood where you have the 10 fruit, vegetables, and berries all in a powder. So you can add it to your water and just drink that. We can help you by helping you jumpstart whatever you're already doing. And even if you want to do an elimination program, you can talk to your medical professional because none of the information here is supposed to replace a conversation with your medical doctor. So you can do all of that, and we can help you get started by adding more fruits and vegetables to your eating plan. You'll have more fiber, you'll have more micronutrients, you'll have more fruits with variety and high quality. And we also have Monday Night Call where you can get more information, where medical professionals are speaking on some of these health topics that you're concerned about. You can join us here every Friday night. And in September, you can join us in Indianapolis. So ask the person who invited you because we'd want to share all of this information with you. We want you to hear it from stage. We want you to be there when the information is shared. So join us again next week and join us in Indianapolis and join us on our Monday night calls. Speak to the person who invited you, and I hope all of my friends who are present here tonight, they'll unmute themselves and say what we say every Friday night.
Eat more
More
fruits
fruits
and
and vegetables.
vegetables.
Yay! Eat more fruits and vegetables. Thank you so much for joining us. You are you're part of our family. We care about you, and we want to see you healthy. And we're here to help you do that. Thanks so much. This is Coach Carla Joy and Ruth Presley and the gang saying, come back, join us again
Back
next time.
next week.
Thank you.